Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands and checked the time on his worn data pad. Another double shift done. His back ached from crawling through the maintenance tunnels of the Calithian Palace's lower decks. All he wanted was to call his daughter Emma and fall into bed. The Calithians didn't care much about comfort for their human workers. They barely cared about humans at all. To them, humans were just another species in their vast empire. Useful for some tasks, but nothing special. Marcus was fine with that. He kept his head down, did his job, and saved enough credits to give Emma a better life. He was halfway to his quarters when the corridor lights suddenly changed to royal purple. Marcus stopped. Purple lights meant the royal family was nearby. He pressed himself against the wall, ready to bow if needed. Protocol demanded respect, even from lowly maintenance workers. But the figure that appeared around the corner wasn't what he expected. Two royal guards, their chrome bodies gleaming under the lights, marched straight toward him. Their optical sensors locked onto Marcus with an intensity that made his heart race. "Marcus Chen, human identification number 7743K?" one guard asked. Its voice had no emotion, just cold mechanical precision. "Yes, that's me," Marcus said. His mouth went dry. Had he broken some rule, violated some protocol he didn't know about? "You will come with us. The Queen requires your presence." Marcus's mind went blank. The Queen? Queen Zixvara herself? That made no sense. He was nobody. Just a technician who fixed broken pipes and faulty wiring. "There must be some mistake," Marcus said. No mistake." "Come now." The guards didn't wait for agreement. They positioned themselves on either side of Marcus and began walking. He had no choice but to follow. His heart hammered in his chest. What could the Queen possibly want with him? They walked through corridors Marcus had never seen before. The lower decks where he worked were practical and plain. These upper levels were beautiful. Crystal walls reflected light in rainbow patterns. The floors were so smooth they seemed like mirrors. Everything spoke of power and wealth beyond imagination. Other Calethians stopped to stare as they passed. Marcus felt their optical sensors tracking him. He heard whispers in their language too fast for his translator to catch. None of it sounded friendly. Finally, they reached a massive door that seemed to be made of solid light. It opened silently, and the guards pushed Marcus through. The throne room took his breath away. It stretched for what seemed like miles, all crystal and chrome. Dozens of Calethian nobles lined the walls, their metallic bodies gleaming. At the far end, on a throne that floated above the floor, sat Queen Zixvara. But Marcus barely noticed any of this, because underneath it all, cutting through everything, was a sound that made his stomach clench. A baby was crying. Not just crying, screaming. The sound was so loud it hurt Marcus's ears. It echoed off the crystal walls, building and building until it seemed to fill the entire universe. Marcus had heard plenty of babies cry. Emma had been a difficult infant. But he'd never heard anything like this. "Approach," the Queen commanded. Marcus walked forward on shaky legs. As he got closer, he could see the Queen more clearly. She was massive, at least 8 feet tall, her body a mixture of organic tissue and cybernetic enhancements. Her face was mostly metal, but her eyes were organic and they looked exhausted. Near the throne sat a crystal cradle. Inside it, a tiny figure writhed and screamed. The baby was even smaller than Emma had been. Its body was partially cybernetic already, tiny metal plates covering organic flesh. But its lungs were fully organic, and they worked perfectly. "Human Marcus Chen," the Queen said. Her voice was amplified somehow, cutting through the baby's cries. "You have a child." It wasn't a question, but Marcus answered anyway. "Yes, Your Majesty, my daughter Emma. She's 6. "You raised this child yourself after your mate died." "Yes, Your Majesty." How did she know that? Marcus supposed the Queen could access any information she wanted. Then perhaps you can succeed where everyone else has failed. The Queen gestured to the cradle. My son, Prince Keth, has been crying for 84 standard hours. Nothing stops it. Our medical experts have tried everything. Our AI systems have calculated every possible solution. Allied species have sent their best doctors. Nothing works. Marcus stared at the crying baby. 84 hours. That was more than 3 days. No wonder the Queen looked exhausted. The crying is creating harmonic frequencies that threaten the palace structure, one of the nobles said. If it continues, we may face system failures. All of the prince's biological needs are met, another noble added. Nutrition optimal, temperature regulated, gravitational field adjusted. The crying serves no logical purpose. Marcus looked from the nobles to the Queen to the screaming baby. They wanted him to stop the crying? Him? Why would they think he could do what their experts couldn't? Your Majesty, Marcus said carefully, I'm just a maintenance worker. I'm not a doctor or a child expert, I'm just a dad. Exactly, the Queen said. You are a human parent. Your species is known for irrational behavior and emotional responses. Logic has failed me. Perhaps what is needed is something illogical. Marcus wanted to laugh, or maybe cry. They were asking him to fix their baby because humans were considered irrational? That was either the biggest insult or the strangest compliment he'd ever received. I don't know if I can help, Marcus said honestly. But I can try. You will try, the Queen said. It wasn't a request. Marcus approached the cradle. The Calithian nobles shifted nervously, as if worried he might contaminate their prince somehow. Marcus ignored them. He'd learned long ago that worrying about what others thought got you nowhere. He looked down at Prince Keth. The baby's face was mostly organic, twisted in misery. Tears ran down its tiny cheeks. Its little fists clenched and unclenched. Every part of its small body radiated distress. Marcus had seen that look before. Emma had looked like that when she was little, when she'd been scared or sick or just needed comfort. He looked around the cradle. It was perfect. Temperature controls, nutrient delivery systems, monitors tracking every vital sign. The baby floated on a cushion of soft energy, never touching anything solid. Everything was optimal. And suddenly, Marcus understood. He's not sick, Marcus said quietly. Of course not, a noble snapped. Every system shows... He's lonely, Marcus interrupted. He looked up at the Queen. Your Majesty, when's the last time someone held him? Silence fell over the throne room. Even the baby's cries seemed to quiet for a moment. Held him, the Queen repeated. The cradle system provides optimal support. Physical contact would introduce contamination risks and... He needs to be held, Marcus said. May I? The outcry was immediate. Nobles shouted protests. Guards moved forward. The idea of a human touching the prince seemed to horrify everyone except the Queen. She raised one metal hand. Instant silence. You may proceed, she said. Marcus took a deep breath and reached into the cradle. The baby weighed almost nothing. Marcus lifted Prince Keth carefully from the cradle, supporting the tiny head the way he'd learned with Emma. The baby's skin was warm where it was organic, cool where the metal plates began. Marcus could feel the small body trembling with exhaustion from crying so long. Every eye in the throne room watched him. Marcus tried to ignore the stares. He'd held hundreds of babies before, Emma, his nieces and nephews, children of friends, but never had so much attention been focused on such a simple act. He pulled the baby close to his chest. Prince Keth's screams continued, but Marcus had expected that. Babies didn't calm down instantly. Emma had taught him patience. "What are you doing?" a noble demanded. "The cradle maintains optimal body position. You're holding him incorrectly." I'm holding him like a baby, Marcus said. There's no incorrect way, as long as you support the head and neck. He began to sway gently, a motion so natural he didn't even think about it. Back and forth, a rhythm as old as humanity itself. His mother had done this with him. He'd done it with Emma. Now he did it with an alien prince in a crystal palace light years from Earth. The baby's cries didn't stop, but they changed slightly. The pitch lowered a bit. The screams became more like wails. The movement is creating unnecessary stimulation, another noble said. The cradle eliminates all unnecessary movement for optimal rest. Marcus didn't bother responding. He just kept swaying. And then he started to hum. It was an old lullaby, something his grandmother had taught him. He didn't even remember all the words, but the melody was burned into his memory. He'd hummed it to Emma 1,000 times during those long, difficult nights when she wouldn't sleep. The sound seemed to confuse the Calethians. Their optical sensors flickered, analyzing the vibrations. They probably had machines that could replicate the exact frequency of his humming, Marcus thought. But that wasn't the point. "Explain your methodology," the Queen said. She'd risen from her throne and stood closer now, watching intently. "There's no methodology, Your Majesty," Marcus said, still swaying, still humming between words. "I'm just trying to comfort him." "But what is the scientific basis for these movements? What purpose does the vocalization serve?" Marcus looked at her. In her eyes he saw something he understood. Not confusion or calculation. Desperation. She was a mother who couldn't help her child, and it was killing her. "Babies need more than optimal conditions," Marcus said gently. "They need to feel safe. They need to know someone cares. When Emma was little, she'd cry and cry sometimes. Nothing wrong with her, just she needed to know I was there." "Inefficient," a noble muttered. "Maybe," Marcus agreed, "but effective." Prince Keth's cries were definitely quieter now, still there but losing intensity. The baby's tiny fingers grabbed at Marcus's shirt, holding on. Marcus began walking around the throne room. The guards tensed, hands moving toward weapons. The Queen held up her hand again, stopping them. "You are removing the prince from the secure area," one guard said. "I'm walking with a baby," Marcus replied. "Sometimes they need motion to calm down. Emma loved when I walked with her." "This Emma reference point continues to appear in your explanation," the Queen observed. "You use a single data point to determine treatment?" Marcus laughed softly. "Every baby's different, Your Majesty. Emma's what I know. But some things are universal. Babies need warmth. They need touch. They need to hear a heartbeat that isn't their own." "Heartbeat," the Queen repeated. "Why?" "They hear it for months before they're born, inside their mother. It means safety." Marcus adjusted his hold on the prince. "Don't Calethians— did you carry him? Before he was born?" "I did." The Queen's voice was quieter now. "It is unusual for our species. Most young are grown in artificial wombs, but I chose differently for my heir." "Then he knows your heartbeat," Marcus said. "He knew it before he knew anything else in the universe." The Queen was silent for a long moment. Around the throne room, the nobles shifted uncomfortably. This conversation was clearly making them uneasy. "Our people removed such inefficiencies long ago," the Queen finally said. "We engineer optimal development environments. Parental bonding protocols were determined to be counterproductive." "Maybe they were," Marcus said. He wasn't trying to insult their entire civilization. "But maybe the prince doesn't know that yet. He's brand new. He still has all those old instincts from before your people changed things." Prince Keth's cries had dropped to whimpers now. The baby's eyes were closing, then opening, then closing again, fighting sleep the way overtired babies did. Marcus kept walking, kept swaying, kept humming. His arms were getting tired, but he didn't stop. He'd carried Emma for hours sometimes. This was nothing. "How long will this take?" a noble asked impatiently. "However long it takes," Marcus said. "That is not a useful answer." "It's the only answer I have." Time passed. Marcus didn't know how much. His datapad was in his pocket, and he couldn't check it while holding the baby. The nobles grew restless. Some left, others whispered among themselves. The queen never moved. She just watched. Finally, Marcus's personal communicator buzzed softly. He carefully pulled it out with one hand, keeping the prince secure with the other. Emma's face appeared on the small screen. "Daddy, are you coming home soon?" "Hey, sweetie," Marcus whispered. "Not yet. I'm working late." "Doing what?" Emma leaned closer to her screen, curious as always. "Babysitting, kind of." "Really? Can I see?" Marcus angled the communicator so Emma could see Prince Keth. The baby's eyes were closed now, his breathing slow and even. "Oh," Emma breathed. "He's so tiny. What's his name?" "Keth," Marcus said. "Is he sleeping?" "I think so. Just barely." "You're really good at that, Daddy. Remember when you helped Mrs. Rodriguez with her baby last month?" "I remember." "You have magic dad powers," Emma said seriously. Then she yawned. "I'm sleepy too." "Then go to bed, Em. I'll call you tomorrow." "Okay. Love you, Daddy." "Love you too, sweetheart." The call ended. When Marcus looked up, he found the queen staring at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "That is your Emma," she said. "Yes, Your Majesty." "She trusts you completely." "I hope so." "I'm her father. And this trust was built through these inefficient methods, holding her, walking with her, making unnecessary vocalizations." Marcus smiled. "Every single day." The queen moved closer. For the first time, Marcus saw past the chrome and crystal, saw past the technological improvements and the royal authority. He saw a mother looking at her sleeping child. "He's asleep," one of the nobles said, surprise clear in its voice. "The prince is actually sleeping." The entire throne room fell silent. Everyone stared at the small bundle in Marcus's arms. Prince Keth slept peacefully, one tiny hand still clutching Marcus's shirt. "What do we do now?" the queen asked. For the first time since Marcus had entered the throne room, she sounded uncertain. "Now?" Marcus said quietly. "Now you let him sleep. And hope he stays asleep." "And when he wakes?" Marcus met her eyes. "That depends on what he needs when he wakes up." The queen processed this. Marcus could almost see her trying to calculate the variables, looking for a logical pattern in something that had no logic. "This is not sustainable," a noble said. "The human cannot remain here indefinitely." "Why not?" the queen asked. Every head turned toward her. "Your Majesty," the noble said carefully, "protocol demands—" "My son is sleeping for the first time in 84 hours, the queen interrupted. "Protocol is suspended until further notice." She looked at Marcus again. "Can you teach me what you did?" "I can try, Your Majesty." "Then you will stay. Your quarters will be moved to the royal level, your daughter as well, if you wish. You will teach me how to calm my son using these illogical human methods." Marcus should have been terrified, should have been overwhelmed, but all he felt was tired and somehow peaceful. "I'll help however I can," he said. 3 hours later, Prince Keth woke up crying again. Marcus had been sitting in a chair near the cradle, not quite asleep, but not quite awake either. The sound brought him fully alert instantly. Parent reflexes never went away. He lifted the prince before any of the hovering nobles could object. The baby was hungry this time. Marcus could tell by the different pitch of the cry. Emma had taught him to recognize the variations. "He needs food," Marcus said. The nutrient delivery system in the cradle, a noble began. No, Marcus said firmly. He needs to eat while being held. Babies need both food and comfort at the same time. The queen had been resting in a side chamber. She appeared within seconds of the crying starting. Her optical sensors looked dimmer than before. Tired, Marcus realized. Even cybernetic beings got tired. Your Majesty, Marcus said, do you want to feed him? She hesitated. I am not certain I can do it correctly. There's no correct way. Just hold him and give him his food. Here, I'll show you. Marcus spent the next 20 minutes teaching the queen of the Calithian Empire how to hold her own baby. She was stiff at first, her movements calculated and precise, but gradually something changed. Her hold became more natural. When the prince fussed, she automatically adjusted. Like this? She asked, her voice softer than Marcus had heard it. Perfect, Marcus said. He watched as Prince Keth ate, his tiny eyes fixed on his mother's face. The queen stared back at her son with an intensity that went beyond calculation. Marcus recognized that look. He'd seen it in his own mirror after Emma was born. Pure love, fierce and protective and overwhelming. He looks at me, the queen said, wonder in her voice. He knows you, Marcus said. You're his mother. Over the next several days, Marcus moved into quarters near the royal chambers. Emma arrived the following morning confused but excited. She'd never been above the lower decks before. Everything amazed her. Daddy, the walls are sparkly, she said, running her hands over the crystal surfaces. Don't touch everything, Marcus warned, but he smiled. He'd missed her. Emma got to meet Prince Keith that afternoon. She approached the baby carefully, the way Marcus had taught her to be gentle with small creatures. He's even tinier in person, Emma whispered. Can I hold him? Marcus looked at the queen. She'd been watching Emma with curious interest since the girl arrived. Your daughter wishes to hold my son, the queen said. It wasn't quite a question. Only if you're comfortable with it, Your Majesty, Marcus said. Emma's good with babies. She helped with her cousin last year. The queen considered this. Then slowly, she nodded. Marcus showed Emma how to sit properly, how to support the prince's head. Emma took the baby with such careful concentration that Marcus's heart swelled with pride. Hi, Prince Keth, Emma said softly. I'm Emma. Your dad and my dad are friends now, I think. So maybe we can be friends too. The prince made a small sound, not quite a cry. His tiny hand reached up and grabbed Emma's finger. She giggled. He's holding my hand. Marcus saw something shift in the queen's expression. She watched the two children together, one human, one Calithian, connected by something simple and pure. This is what you meant, the queen said to Marcus. About connection. Yes, Your Majesty. That night, Marcus taught the queen more techniques, how to burp a baby, how to tell different cries apart, how to just sit and hold the prince without any purpose except being together. This seems inefficient, the queen said, but she didn't sound convinced anymore. She rocked her son gently, humming in a mechanical tone that gradually became more musical. Maybe efficiency isn't everything, Marcus said carefully. The queen looked at him. My people have pursued efficiency for thousands of years. We removed emotions because they clouded judgment. We removed physical bonds because they wasted time. We optimized everything. Did it work? She was quiet for a long time. We became powerful. We built an empire. We achieved things no other species thought possible. She looked down at the sleeping prince in her arms. But I do not think we became happy. Marcus didn't know what to say to that. He was just a maintenance worker who'd stumbled into something far beyond his understanding. When I was carrying him, the queen continued, I accessed ancient memory files. Before the cybernetic revolution, my people were different. We touched each other. We played. We had families that lived together and cared. You still care, Marcus said. I can see it. Can you? I am mostly machine. How can a machine care? The same way anyone cares. You chose to carry him yourself. You haven't slept in days because you're worried about him. You're learning something completely outside your programming because it helps him. That's caring, Your Majesty. A single drop of lubricant fell from the Queen's optical sensor. Marcus pretended not to notice. Over the following weeks, Marcus settled into a routine. He'd wake up, have breakfast with Emma, then spend the day teaching the Queen and her staff about human parenting methods. At first, the nobles resisted. This was undignified, improper, inefficient. But slowly, things began to change. One noble asked Marcus how to comfort her own young one, who'd been in a creche facility and seemed distressed. Marcus showed her the same techniques he'd taught the Queen. The baby calmed. The noble stared at her child with something like wonder in her optical sensors. Word spread. More Calithians came with questions. Marcus found himself running informal classes in the palace gardens, teaching ancient techniques to a species that had forgotten them. Emma helped. She played with the Calithian children, showing them games from Earth, tag, hide and seek, simple things, but the young Calithians loved them. Marcus watched them run and laugh and just be children, and he saw the adult Calithians watching too, their expressions confused but interested. You are changing our culture, the Queen told Marcus one evening. They sat in the royal gardens while Emma and Prince Keth napped nearby. The prince was 3 months old now, healthy and alert. I'm not trying to, Marcus said. I'm just helping with a baby. It is more than that. Our people are remembering what it means to feel, to connect. Some of the nobles are angry about it. They say you are corrupting our efficiency. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Should I be worried? I will not let anyone harm you or your daughter, the Queen said firmly. You have my word. But words couldn't stop everything. The attack came 3 weeks later. Marcus was in the nursery with Emma and Prince Keth when alarms suddenly blared through the palace. The doors sealed automatically. Red lights flooded the room. Daddy? Emma's voice was small and scared. Marcus pulled her close with one arm while securing Prince Keth with the other. It's okay, sweetie. Just stay calm. But he wasn't calm. His heart raced. He heard sounds outside the doors, shouting. The hum of energy weapons. Someone was trying to get to them. Prince Keth began to cry, picking up on the tension. Emma pressed against Marcus's side, trying to be brave but clearly terrified. Talk to me, Em, Marcus said, forcing his voice to stay steady. Tell me about that book you were reading. What? Emma looked at him like he was crazy. The book, about the space explorers. What happened in Chapter 3? Emma understood. Distraction. She started talking, her voice shaky at first but growing stronger. Marcus listened and responded, keeping up a conversation like nothing was wrong. All while holding both children, his body positioned between them and the door. Prince Keth's cries faded to whimpers. He could hear Emma's voice, familiar and comforting. He could feel Marcus's heartbeat, steady despite everything. The sounds outside grew louder, then suddenly stopped. Silence. The door opened. The Queen stood there, flanked by guards. Her chrome armor was scorched in places. She looked at the 3 of them, Marcus and the 2 children, all safe, and something in her stance relaxed. You kept them calm, she said. I tried, Marcus said. His voice shook now that the danger had passed. There were attackers, conservatives who reject the changes you have brought. They wanted to... The Queen stopped, unable to finish. But they didn't, Marcus said firmly. We're all okay. The Queen approached them. She took Prince Keth from Marcus's arms and held her son close. Then she did something Marcus never expected. She reached out and put one metallic hand on Emma's head, gentle and careful. "Thank you," she said to both of them, "for being here, for teaching us, for reminding us what matters." Emma, brave little Emma, reached up and patted the Queen's arm. "It's okay. That's what families do." The palace changed after the attack. Security increased. Guards stood at every corner. But something else changed, too. The Calethians who'd tried to keep everything the same were arrested. The ones who remained started asking questions instead of resisting. Marcus found himself in an unexpected position. The Queen declared him Royal Child Care Consultant. It sounded impressive, but Marcus still felt like just a dad who knew how to calm a crying baby. But the Calethians treated him differently now. Nobles who'd ignored him before nodded as he passed. Guards saluted. It made Marcus uncomfortable. He preferred being invisible. "You saved the prince," one guard told him. "You kept him calm during the attack. That matters." "I just did what any parent would do," Marcus said. "Exactly. That is why it matters." Emma adjusted to palace life surprisingly well. She missed her friends from the lower decks, so the Queen arranged for them to visit. Soon the royal gardens filled with human children playing with young Calethians. The sounds of laughter echoed through halls that had been silent for generations. Prince Keth grew stronger each day. At 4 months old, he smiled and laughed. He recognized Marcus and Emma reaching for them when they entered the room. The Queen learned to play with her son, awkward at first, but improving. She built towers of blocks for him to knock down. She made funny faces that made him giggle. "I do not understand why knocking down blocks brings him joy," the Queen said one afternoon, rebuilding the tower for the 7th time. "Does it matter?" Marcus asked. He was teaching Emma her homework nearby. "He's happy." "No," the Queen said slowly. "I suppose it does not matter. His happiness is sufficient reason." She knocked down the tower herself this time. Prince Keth shrieked with delight and clapped his tiny hands together. The Queen made a sound Marcus had never heard from her before. She was laughing. Other Calethians came to observe. They watched the Queen play with her son. They saw her hold him when he cried. They noticed how she hummed to him at night, a tune she'd created herself. "The Queen has become inefficient," one noble whispered. "The Queen has become happy," another replied. "Look at her." It was true. The exhaustion that had lined the Queen's face was gone. Her movements were less mechanical, more fluid. She smiled sometimes. Not the calculated expression of a ruler, but the genuine smile of a mother. Word spread beyond the palace. Throughout the empire, Calethians began questioning the old ways. If their queen could change, could learn to feel again, perhaps they could too. But not everyone was happy about it. The High Council demanded a meeting. Marcus wasn't supposed to attend, but the Queen insisted he come. "Human Chen must be present," she said. "These changes began because of him." Marcus stood in the council chamber while 12 of the Empire's most powerful Calethians debated his existence. Emma stayed with the prince, guarded by soldiers the Queen trusted completely. "This human has contaminated our culture," one council member said. His name was Daxtron, and his voice dripped with disgust. "Our young are becoming weak. They play instead of train. They waste time with emotions instead of developing efficiency." "They are children," the Queen said. "They should play." "That is human thinking, not Calethian." Perhaps Calethian thinking needs to change. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some supported the Queen. Others agreed with Daxtron. Marcus stayed silent, trying not to draw attention to himself. "What do you say, human?" Daxtron turned his optical sensors on Marcus. "You have changed our entire society. Was that your intention?" "No," Marcus said honestly. "I just wanted to help a baby stop crying. And now you teach our young ones to be soft, to depend on emotional connections instead of logic. You make us weak." With respect, Marcus said carefully. I don't think emotions make anyone weak. They make you alive. We are alive without emotions. We have been for thousands of years. Have you been happy? The question hung in the air. Daxtron didn't answer. Couldn't answer, maybe. The Queen spoke instead. I was not happy. I achieved everything a Calethian should achieve. Power, success, optimal efficiency. But I was not happy. Not until I held my son and felt something beyond calculation. Sentiment, Daxtron said dismissively. Love, the Queen corrected. It is called love, and it is not weakness. It is the opposite. More debate followed. Marcus listened as they argued about culture and tradition and what it meant to be Calethian. He thought about Emma. Safe with the prince in the royal nursery. He thought about his wife, gone too soon. He thought about all the nights he'd walked the floor with baby Emma, exhausted and overwhelmed, but filled with purpose. Finally, the Queen raised her hand for silence. I am ending this debate, she said. Marcus Chen will remain as my consultant. The cultural changes will continue. Any who disagree may petition for reassignment to districts that wish to maintain the old ways. You risk dividing the empire, Daxtron warned. I risk nothing. I am choosing my son's future over our past. That is what parents do. The council had no answer for that. That night, Marcus found the Queen in the nursery. She held Prince Keith, who slept peacefully in her arms. For once, she looked relaxed. Thank you, she said without looking up. For what, Your Majesty? For showing me that efficiency is not the same as fulfillment, for teaching me to hold my son, for giving me back something my people lost. I didn't give you anything, Marcus said. It was always there. You just needed permission to find it again. She finally looked at him. You could ask for anything right now. Wealth, power, a position of honor. What do you want? Marcus thought about it. He'd thought about it a lot over the past months. I want Emma to have opportunities, he said. I want her to go to school, learn everything she can. Not just for humans, but with Calethians too. I want her to have a future where being human isn't a limitation. Done. What else? I want other human kids to have the same chances. A scholarship fund, maybe. So they can learn and grow and become whatever they want. The Queen nodded. Consider it established. Anything else? Honestly, I'd like to keep doing what I'm doing. Teaching parents how to be parents. Helping kids be kids. That's enough for me. You could have asked for so much more. I already have everything that matters, Marcus said. He thought of Emma, asleep in their quarters. Everything else is just extra. The Queen processed this. Her expression shifted, and Marcus could see her understanding deepen. You are a very strange human, Marcus Chen. I'm just a dad, Your Majesty. No, she said softly. You are much more than that. You are a revolution. Marcus laughed. That's a bit dramatic. But as he left the nursery and walked through the palace halls, he saw what she meant. Calethian parents held their children. Young ones played in the gardens. Laughter echoed where silence had reigned. Maybe he had started a revolution, not with weapons or grand speeches, just by showing one mother how to hold her baby. In his quarters, Emma was still awake, reading by a small light. How was your meeting? She asked. Complicated, but good, I think. Did you tell them you're the best dad ever? Marcus sat on the edge of her bed and smoothed her hair. I told them what mattered. Which is? That people need each other, that love isn't weakness, that sometimes the right answer isn't the logical one. Emma considered this with the seriousness of a 6-year-old philosopher. I think the Queen knows that now. She smiles when she holds Prince Keth. Like you smile when you hold me. You notice that? I notice everything, Daddy. Marcus kissed her forehead. Get some sleep, Em. Big day tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow? You're going to your new school, with human kids and Calethian kids together. Emma's eyes went wide. Really? Really? The Queen set it up herself. Emma threw her arms around Marcus's neck. This is the best thing ever. Marcus held his daughter close and thought about how far they'd come. From the lower decks to the royal palace, from invisible to important, all because a baby wouldn't stop crying. Sometimes the smallest things changed everything. 5 years passed like a gentle river. Marcus sometimes couldn't believe how much had changed since that night he'd been summoned to the throne room. Prince Keth was 5 years old now. A healthy boy who moved easily between the organic and cybernetic parts of himself. He looked more Calethian than human, but he laughed like Emma. He played like human children. He hugged his mother every morning and every night. Emma was 11, tall and confident. She attended the integrated school Marcus had requested, learning alongside Calethian children. She excelled in everything, but especially in helping younger students adjust. She'd become a bridge between species without even trying. Marcus still worked as the royal child care consultant, though his role had expanded. He now trained teachers throughout the empire in what they called integrated development methods. It was just parenting, but the Calethians needed formal names for everything. The Queen had changed most of all. She was still powerful, still commanded the empire with intelligence and strength. But she was softer now, too. She held council meetings with Prince Keth playing nearby. She took breaks to spend time with her son. She'd even started a program to bring more emotion and connection back into Calethian culture. Not everyone accepted the changes. Some districts rejected the new ways completely. But more and more Calethians chose connection over pure efficiency. They chose to feel again. On this particular morning, Marcus found the Queen in the royal gardens. She was teaching Prince Keth to ride a hoverbike, a human toy that Emma had introduced to the palace years ago. The Queen had insisted on adding anti-gravity stabilizers and protective force fields. Some things never changed. "Watch me, Marcus," Prince Keth called out, waving. "I'm watching." "Your Highness," Marcus called back. The prince insisted Marcus use his title, but only in public. In private, the boy called him Uncle Marcus. The Queen guided the hoverbike gently, her hands ready to catch her son if he wobbled. She no longer calculated the optimal learning methodology. She just helped him the way any parent would. Emma sat on a bench nearby doing homework on her datapad. She looked up and smiled at Marcus. "Remember when the prince couldn't even hold his own head up?" she asked. "I remember," Marcus said, sitting beside her. "Seems like yesterday." "You saved him, Daddy." "I just held him, Em. Any decent person would have done the same. But you knew how. The Calethians didn't. That's what makes you special." Marcus ruffled her hair. "You're pretty special yourself, kiddo." They watched as Prince Keth successfully completed a lap around the garden. He cheered, and the Queen actually jumped up and down with excitement before catching herself. Then, as if deciding she didn't care who saw, she jumped again and laughed. Later that afternoon, Marcus attended a ceremony at the new Human Calethian Cultural Center. The building was massive, a joint project between both species. It housed schools, recreational facilities, and research labs dedicated to understanding emotional development. The Queen gave a speech to the assembled crowd. Hundreds of humans and thousands of Calethians filled the plaza. "5 years ago," the Queen said, her voice amplified across the space. "I could not calm my own son. I had all the resources of an empire, but I lacked one thing. I lacked understanding of what he truly needed." She paused, looking at Marcus in the crowd. He felt his face grow warm with embarrassment. "A human maintenance worker taught me that efficiency is not everything. That logic cannot solve all problems. That sometimes the most advanced solution is the most ancient one. Love, connection, touch. These things, which my people abandoned in pursuit of perfection, are actually essential to life. The crowd was silent, listening. We will never return to what we were before. We have evolved too far, but we can integrate what we lost with what we gained. We can be both logical and loving, both efficient and emotional, both powerful and gentle. Applause erupted. Marcus clapped along with everyone else, still uncomfortable with the attention, but proud of what they'd all accomplished together. After the ceremony, the Queen requested Marcus join her privately in her office. Emma went to play with Prince Keith under the watchful eyes of guards who'd become more like friends over the years. "I have something to discuss with you," the Queen said. Marcus sat in a chair that had been installed specifically for human comfort. 5 years ago, the palace had no furniture designed for humans. Now it was everywhere. "What is it, Your Majesty?" "I want to offer you a formal position, Ambassador of Emotional Integration. You would travel to different districts, teaching what you've taught here, spreading these methods across the empire." Marcus had known this was coming. He'd been asked about it before and always deflected. "Your Majesty, I appreciate the offer, but I'm not an ambassador. I'm not even a teacher, not really. I'm just a dad who got lucky." "You are far more than that." "Maybe. But what I am most is Emma's father. She's at an important age. She needs me here, stable, present, not traveling across the empire." The Queen tilted her head, processing this. "You are choosing your daughter over a position of great honor and influence." "Every single time," Marcus said without hesitation. "Even though accepting would help countless Calethian children?" Marcus sighed. "Your Majesty, I've trained hundreds of people. They can travel, they can teach, but only one person can be Emma's dad. That's me. That's what I choose." The Queen was quiet for a long moment. Then she made that sound again, the one that had taken Marcus months to recognize. She was laughing. "What's funny?" Marcus asked. You embody the very lesson you taught me. Nothing is more important than your child. Not honor, not duty, not even helping others. Your child comes first." "Exactly." "Very well. I will not pressure you, but the offer remains open if you ever change your mind." "Thank you, Your Majesty." As Marcus stood to leave, the Queen spoke again. "Marcus, I never properly thanked you. You've thanked me plenty. Not for teaching me to calm my son, for teaching me to be his mother. That is a gift beyond price." Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. "You were always his mother, Your Majesty. You just needed to remember how." That evening, Marcus prepared dinner in their quarters. Real cooking, not synthesized food. Emma helped, chattering about her day at school. Prince Keth came to visit, as he often did, and Marcus set an extra place at the table. The Queen arrived unexpectedly. She'd never visited their personal quarters before. "I apologize for intruding," she said. "I smelled something unusual." "That's spaghetti," Marcus said. "An earth dish. Would you like to join us?" The Queen looked at the simple table, the mismatched chairs, the steaming pot of pasta. It was nothing like the grand dining halls she was used to. "I would be honored," she said. They ate together, the Queen struggling with the concept of twirling pasta on a fork. Prince Keth got sauce all over his face. Emma laughed. Marcus told stories about cooking with his grandmother back on Earth. It was ordinary, inefficient, imperfect. It was perfect. Later, after the Queen and Prince Keth had left, Marcus tucked Emma into bed. "Daddy?" she asked sleepily. "Do you ever miss Earth?" "Sometimes," Marcus admitted. "I miss my family there, the places I knew." "Do you regret coming here?" Marcus thought about that first night in the throne room, holding a crying alien baby, not knowing if he could help, terrified of failing, He thought about everything that came after, the friendships, the changes, watching an entire civilization rediscover its heart. He thought about Emma, growing up with opportunities he never could have given her on Earth. "No regrets," he said. "Not a single one." "Good," Emma yawned, "because I like it here, and I like Prince Keth, and I like that you made the Queen happy." "We made her happy. You helped too. We're a good team, Daddy. The best team." Emma fell asleep with a smile on her face. Marcus sat beside her bed for a while, watching her breathe. His daughter, his whole world. In the royal chambers, the Queen sat with Prince Keth before bed. He'd requested a story, and she told him about the ancient Calethians, before the cybernetic revolution. About a time when her people knew how to love openly and completely. "Is that a true story, Mother?" Prince Keth asked. "It is. And because of a human named Marcus Chen, we are learning to love that way again." "I love Uncle Marcus. And Emma." "I know you do, my son. And they love you." Prince Keth yawned. "Mother, will you stay until I fall asleep?" "Of course." She pulled him close, her cybernetic arms gentle around his small body. "I will always stay as long as you need me." As Prince Keth drifted off to sleep, the Queen thought about that night 5 years ago. The endless crying, the desperation. The moment a simple human maintenance worker had dared to pick up her son. He'd done something revolutionary, not through force or brilliance, but through the simplest human act. He'd cared. That caring had changed everything. In the palace gardens, the hoverbike sat where Prince Keith had left it. Tomorrow he'd ride it again. He'd laugh and play and maybe fall. And Marcus and the Queen would both be there to help him up. Across the empire, other parents tucked their children into bed. They sang to them, held them, told them stories. Things that had been forgotten were being remembered. Marcus Chen had taught them all a simple truth. The most advanced species in the galaxy had needed a human single dad to remind them that some things couldn't be optimized or calculated or improved through technology. Love was enough. Connection was everything, and sometimes the crying just needed someone to care. The stars shone over the palace, same as they shone over Earth, light years away. Under those stars, a human family and a Calethian family slept peacefully. And throughout the empire, babies stopped crying, held in the arms of parents who'd learned to feel again.